We are on the second tactical principle out of Brad Steiner's The Tactical Skills of Hand-to-Hand Combat, written in 1977. The first tactical principle was never fight anybody on fair footing. And that's certainly one of the hallmarks between competition and real life self-defense. The second tactic is cultivate and display an attitude of superiority and an attitude of confidence whenever you're facing a scumbag, no matter how large or tough he seems to be. Think, feel, look, and act fierce. And you may have to actually act. Nobody ever feels completely confident in a circumstance like that, but sometimes you just become that thing and become that actor. It's not going to do you any good to be timid in the face of an attack. And I want to say, too, that there's definitely a time to act weak and a time to act strong. So for the most part, I think it's a time to act strong. You get some troublemaker who approaches you and he's trying to intimidate you. That's not the time to go, please, leave me alone, don't hurt me. That's just going to egg him on, and, it's just going to cause the attack to happen. I wouldn't treat him like that at all. Now I got three guys that put me into a corner, let's say, and I knew they were going to beat me. I think at that point, I'm going to act excessively afraid. Of course, there's going to be fear there, but you know what I mean. I'm going to have my hands shaking, and then I'm going to explode into them. A little more on that, a time to act weak and a time to act strong. A good friend of mine, he's deceased now, but he was a big, powerful man, and he had been in a lot of fights, and I'd never heard of him even getting wounded in any of the battles that he was in. But he was driving along, I'm going to make this story short, on a lonely stretch of highway. Him and his wife had to pull over. And in Arizona, you're allowed to have weapons, and he did not have a handgun with him. And he was in this isolated area, and this car drove up, and the guy got out of the car really fast, and he started marching over there. And he looked at the girl with him, he said, "Get in position!" And it was clear they were going to attack him or rob him. So my friend opened the car door, and he reached in as if he grabbed something, and he put his hand behind the door, and he said, "Go back to your car right now." And the guy kind of hesitated and just went, "Shit!" And he headed back to the car. He was acting strong when he was weak. He didn't know if this guy was armed or not. He was pretending he had a handgun. It was pretty brilliant. But for the most part, cultivate that attitude of confidence. You should be confident, especially if you're training in good skills and trust in your ability. You're just as likely to get hurt going backwards as you are forward. And some people think that if they move in and act fierce and attack this guy once he attacks you, that they're going to be hurt worse. And there are all kinds of irrational beliefs that people have regarding self-defense. And that's where instructors, when they're doing their job right, are trying to cultivate the right mindset in a person. And that mindset is just altering beliefs, because we're going to feel the way we think, and we're going to behave the way we feel. So I'll have more to say about irrational beliefs, but it comes to mind right now, all the endorsements that Steiner had in this book. Amongst them was the great psychologist Albert Ellis, who developed the, here he is, Dr. Albert Ellis, one of the most famous psychologists in the world. He founded rational emotive therapy, but Steiner used that to alter beliefs, the idea that stems from having irrational beliefs. But Albert Ellis wrote back to him in a letter, and he said, "I never really expected my ideas to be used for self-defense, but I must say it's pretty original what you have done here." So it's really important how we think about a certain situation. If you are convinced that you are the attacker's inferior, you will behave like the attacker's inferior, and you will become the attacker's inferior. If you are convinced that you are the attacker's superior, you will behave like the attacker's superior, and you will become the attacker's superior. That's just how the human mind works. We'll see you next time for tactical principle number 3.